So the Baltimore Ravens defeat the New York Giants 35-14, getting red hot on their way to finish off the season. Only 3 games left. The Baltimore Ravens move to 9-5. So we got our top takeaways and reactions to this game, man. Let's go ahead and dive in. At number 1, Lamar Jackson put on another MVP type of performance. It's funny because I had texted our Patreon Discord, man. I said, hey, it looks like it could be another Jackson 5 in the first quarter. And Lamar Jackson would go on to throw 5 touchdown passes, 21 of 25, 290 passing yards, 5 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, and a 154.6 passer rating. Just a few fractions of a point away from a perfect passer rating. Lamar Jackson looked so sharp today. I thought the on-time drop-back passing was so in sync. That one seam route to Mark Andrews was just a strike. Whenever the back foot hit the ground, he just uncorked it. Lamar Jackson also looked, I don't know if you guys thought this as well, man, but that first run that he took off on, I know it was a fumble, not a great way to start the game, but I was like, bro, I don't even care that he fumbled right now. I was just so perplexed how fast he took off. I don't know about you guys, but I thought Lamar Jackson looked extra quick today. Very fast, rejuvenated off the bye week. 3 games left to go. And a big takeaway from this game is, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry got to rest, halfway through the fourth quarter. Didn't even have to play a full game before having to play 2 games in the next 9 days with the Steelers and the Texans on Christmas Day. At number 2, a big part of this passing attack was Rashad Bateman's absolute explosion, man. It is great news for Rashad Bateman heating up for a playoff run, because now that he's emerged as a legit weapon, a legit threat that defenses have to take account for, I mean, that's going to open up more stuff for Zay Flowers. So which guy do you want to put more attention on between Zay and Bateman? They can both go off and hurt you in different ways. Very, very potent 1-2 receiver punch there. And then Devontae Walker gets in on the action. Let's look at the receiving stats for the day. Bateman gets 3 catches, 80 yards, averaging 26.7 yards per catch. 2 touchdowns on 5 targets, man. Rashad Bateman having a career year. Lamar told us in training camp that Bateman is wide receiver 1. He was saying that's the type of confidence he has in Bate. And later on, just a few weeks ago, he said, I see him as a number 1 type of receiver. And that's showing up, man, on actual game days at this point. Bateman now has nearly 700 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns on the season, a legit bona fide weapon for the Ravens. And then Justice Hill, man, this guy continues to be a weapon as well. 5 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Zay Flowers gets 6 grabs for 53 yards. Nelson Aguilar had 1 big catch, really tight window throw there as Lamar Jackson's avoiding pressure. Beautiful throw and catch there. Mark Andrews, 2 catches, 24 yards, and a touchdown. And Devontae Walker has his first NFL regular season reception, and it happens to be a big play for a touchdown. Beautiful how he was able to get his feet down there. Isaiah Likely gets in on the action, 2 catches, 17 yards, and Tylan Wallace a grab for 8 yards. But, I mean, the big takeaway here, Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers as a legit 1-2 punch at your wide receiver position right now is really good news for the Ravens getting hot heading into the postseason. And at number 3, I know we're talking good news. It's a great win. But the one thing that we got to acknowledge here is the penalties. Penalties continue to be a big, big problem for the Baltimore Ravens, man. Check out these numbers. The Ravens were already the most penalized team in the NFL heading into the game. And in this game, 12 penalties for 112 yards. On the first scoring drive that the Giants had, where they were able to get on the board and make it 7-14, they had 4 penalties on that drive. A roughing the passer by Justin Madubuike. Madubuike knows better, can't put the full body weight on him, especially on a later hit like that. Pass interference on Brandon Stevens. I didn't think that was a good pass interference call. He was able to get his head around, and very ticky-tacky there. Illegal hands to the face. I think that was a Dafe Owe, and there was another penalty on there as well. But those penalties, every time it was third down, it just got him a first down, eventually put him right there on the goal line. And it was the penalties that let them score. It wasn't even bad defense per se. It was just poor discipline, terrible penalized football. But, man, you can't expect to go into a playoff game against a high-caliber team and have 12 penalties for 112 yards. That's not winning football right there. And then another thing I'll say, and at number 4, while we're talking about some things that the Ravens can get better at, right? The run game was not great today. Besides Lamar Jackson, I mean, Lamar Jackson was able to have 6 carries for 65 yards, averaging a healthy 10.8 per carry. That's what I'm saying. He looks so explosive today. But Derrick Henry was held to a modest 4.8 yards per carry. Not bad, but 14 carries for 67 yards. Derrick Henry was getting hit at the line of scrimmage way too often. And some of those times where he was getting hit at the line of scrimmage or hit even in the backfield, he was still able to break tackles and rip off runs. But if we can just give Derrick Henry a little bit of space to work with, man, he's going to do some serious damage. We got to figure out how to scheme some stuff up and be better. Maybe a schematic. We need to run more zone concepts instead of gap concepts. I'm not sure, but we got to get the run game juiced up a little bit more to get Derrick Henry hot, rolling into the playoffs, because we signed Derrick Henry for December and January football. That's just the reality of the situation. We signed Derrick Henry to be the guy that could go into Kansas City and run the ball 20, 25 times, break the back of the Chiefs defense, man, or the Bills, right? We signed him for those type of football games in January, December type of football where he can just break down your defense. And in order for him to break down defenses, give him a little bit of space, let him roll downhill and punish people, because he was getting hit in the backfield way too often today for my liking. Let's talk about the defense. Defense had a great performance, but we can't put too much stock into it because it was against the Giants offense, right? They got a couple of weapons in Tyrone Tracy, Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson. Those are some guys that can play, but this is not a good offense in reality of the situation. 2 different quarterbacks, Tim Boyle and Tommy DeVito. The Ravens did what I would expect them to do, maybe even a little bit less. I'd like to see them get some more sacks on these guys. I thought there was too much time to throw at times. On the day, their passing attack only generated 181 passing yards, 5.2 per completion, a touchdown and an interception, 3 sacks, and a 70.9 rating. So good numbers on the day. I'd like to see better against this caliber of football team. But the Ravens defense continuing to trend towards getting better and better each week over the last 4 weeks or so. In their last 4 performances, only one team has scored more than 20 points on the Baltimore Ravens, and that was the Chargers at 23. So that means over the last 4 weeks, not a single team has hit 24 points. So the Ravens defense has gotten much better, significantly improving, and it's going to be another test against the Steelers offense that's been humming over the last few weeks. This upcoming game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to probably determine the division and who wins the AFC North. Couple of other notes, man. Justice Hill had a heck of a game on offense, but also really nice kick return that was really explosive to set the Ravens up with nice field position. Desmond King had a really nice punt return. He was caught up from the practice squad after being signed a few weeks ago. Kyle Van Noy, he got another sack, and that puts him at 9, I believe, for the season. He could break his career record and finally get to double digits before the season ends, and I'm sure he's going to be hungry for that. David Ojabo got in on the action as well. He was finally active and got in there, made some tackles and played hard. I thought it was cool to see some of these guys get some playing time, like David Ojabo, Devontae Walker, and then towards the end of the game, Ben Cleveland and Andrew Voorhees got in there on the action. So I think the Ravens, they wanted to see some other guys, what they could do. Rasheen Ali looked pretty good as well whenever he got a chance to run the football once Lamar and Derrick Henry came off the field. So really good that some of these guys were able to get some valuable reps. Lamar Jackson had more passing touchdowns today than he had incompletions. 5 touchdowns to only 4 incompletions, man. I'm telling you right now, the Ravens can do some damage in the playoffs. I'm not, telling you my confidence level is so high because of some of the... I've seen the Ravens be able to dominate, and I've also seen them be able to self-inflict and self-destruct. And when the Ravens are playing at their best, man, they're almost impossible to beat. When Lamar Jackson's playing at the top of his game, like the MVP level, like today, when he's locked in and throws are not sailing and he's looking quick and explosive and decisive, man, it's almost impossible to beat the Ravens. When Derrick Henry's going, when the Ravens are playing sound defense, when they're not getting crazy penalties. Like here's the thing today, bro. The Ravens won 35-14 in dominant fashion, had Lamar off the sideline, and still had over 100 penalty yards and a fumble to open up the game. So imagine if it was just clean football. Imagine what that would look like. It could have been like a 50-7 type of game. You know what I'm saying? So the Ravens, the only team that I truly believe can beat the Ravens when they're playing their best football is the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson has the most games with 5+ touchdown passes since 2019. 2 games ahead of Patrick Mahomes. We also got Mark Andrews is now the new Ravens franchise leader in total touchdowns, surpassing Jamal Lewis. Whenever Lamar threw that absolute strike to Mark Andrews, he had a big celebration, big chest bump there in the end zone. I also thought, man, that throw to Rashad, the deep one was good when he was rolling out the pocket, but the other touchdown from like the 30-yard line was an absolute laser, so accurate the way he was able to layer it over the defender there and then still give Rashad space to get his feet down. Lamar Jackson now also has the highest NFL touchdown rate in the league. So 8.1% of his passes go for touchdowns. That's the best rate in the National Football League. Lamar Jackson is also second in the NFL in interception rate. 0.8% of his passes go for interceptions. That's good for second in the league, only behind Justin Herbert. So Lamar Jackson, best touchdown percentage rate, second best interception rate. He's having an MVP type season. Will he win his third MVP? Maybe. Depends what Josh Allen and the Bills do down the stretch. There's still 3 games left for the Ravens, a few games left for the Bills. If Josh Allen is able to dominate the Lions tonight, probably Allen could get the award, but a lot of it goes with team record as well. And the Bills have been able to win more games than the Ravens, so it'll be very intriguing to see how this ends. There's also the fact that Josh Allen's never won an MVP, so voters could be more inclined to vote for him instead of getting Lamar his third, even if Lamar Jackson's total numbers are actually better. All right, guys, so let me know all your thoughts in the comments section below, man. Smash the like button if you got any value out of today's game recap, man. Make sure you got your subscribe and notification bell on so we can keep you up to date on all of your Ravens news. We have the Steelers preview coming up, man. Then we're going to have Texans on Christmas Day, playoffs around the corner. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.
When he wasn't looking, he ran me over.